Now then, this is just going to be a short video. Just going to do a quick walk round on the Trooper. I went to drumclog with it last weekend, broke her front CV. I just thought I'd give you a quick walk around what I've done to it recently. The bumper build is on a separate video, which will come out before this one. We have missed a weekend video just because of going to drumclog. I didn't have time to upload it. So we have fitted the snorkel. So this snorkel was allegedly supposed to fit this, but it didn't. So I had to make this. See, it's still a bit dirty. I had to make this. So that's where the snorkel comes in. That's a piece of 8-inch pipe, and then I used the arc drive to cut out these top plates. Piece of exhaust pipe cut like that, and then onto the factory intake. So that's all fully welded, bolted down through the bottom, siliconed up with a nice little silicone hose on it there. So that's that was the snorkel. The rest of it all bolted up nicely, coming like a template. So I've changed this wing. I don't know if you noticed that. That wing was like red, not maroon. I lost this trim panel that goes on here at drumclog. Couldn't find it, so I have ordered another one. This is the side I bust the CV out of. As you can see, I've got it in bits, but so that's that. Obviously the bumper build, I've put the grill on it now, so the grill's actually bolted on properly, not half-arse bolted on. I have put the winch on, which wasn't in the bumper build, so that's the Winch Max 13,500 pound winch with the nylon cable. As you can see, this also wasn't in the winch build. I've put these on, so I cut them out with the arc drive as well, the CNC plasma, and welded them onto the frame. So they're the pulling points. So I didn't want to make pulling points to pull on the bumper, because obviously you don't want the bumper getting ragged off. So my pulling points are directly mounted to the end of the chassis. So that's nice and nice tidy way of doing it. So not much gone on this side. I'll show you the inside. We did quite a bit in here. So this window regulator was knackered, so I had some spare doors, pulled the door in bits, changed the window regulator in this door. I've now got rubber mats in here and our carpet. We put all carpet back in, so that's all back in. Seat covers. We haven't done anything with the dash yet. It's still dropping in bits, but that's on the list of jobs to do. So obviously carpeted throughout. When we did the carpeting, we sorted all this wiring out of this side because it was a mess. I've also been working out how the four-wheel drive selector works under there, because I don't know whether it's the wiring or the relay that's not working, or it's the fact that I've got the front axle locked in all the time, but it's not happy. So I'm going to do away with all the factory wiring and run a separate loom with a separate switch. That's this here. So that's the four-wheel drive selector, and this is the loom that I've just got mocked up to make it work. So yeah, that's not what it's going to have, but it's just to work out how it works, because it's got like limit stops on it. So I'll show you what we've done underneath the front end. So ignore the washers for the spacers. I was working out how much I need. So it turns out I need 8 10mm washers, which works out about 18mm, 17, 18mm. So I'm going to cut a nice little spacer to go in there. But so it had new discs and pads, new caliper on the other side. Steering track rod ends. These are an upgrade. They go on a taxi. You know the black cabs? That's from a black cab. I didn't know that, but I found that on the forum. I think the shocks might well be knackered, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, add new wheel bearings, new top and bottom ball joints, new track rod, and then I will just climb underneath and show you. I'll bring a torch. Show you what we did under here. So, you'll not be able to see much. So, I made, this wasn't in the bumper build either, so I made this plate here, which covers the bolts for under the bumper. And then I made this belly tray here, which bolts onto that cross member and bolts right back to that cross member. As you can see, she's already taken a bit of damage around here. But behind that, there's the steering box here, and then there's like an arm that goes between the two. So I replaced the arm and the idler at this side. And I replaced the bottom seal in the steering box, so that stopped the steering box from leaking. So yeah, we've done a lot to it, done a hell of a lot to it last week. So we got rudely interrupted there by a phone call. So yeah, you can see this guard pretty much is just to protect the sump and the diff, because the sump does hang quite low, and obviously so does the diff. So it's not really thick enough, but it's all I had. So if you look down the side, I'll try and zoom in there. I've put some stiffeners in it. Obviously you can see there it's not worked, he's bent it anyway, but it is only a sump guard. It's not like it's going to make any difference. If it's got a slight bend in it, you can't see it anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much an update on the Trooper. I haven't done anything else to it other than that. I have ordered some more bits and bobs. Give you a bit of a rundown of what we've got left to put on it. Exhaust, but it's the wrong one. That's for a long wheelbase, so I'm going to have to cut it down. I've got cam belt and water pump, because when we went to Scotland, a lad broke his cam belt, and I all of a sudden realised I had never changed it on this. I've got rear discs and pads, because they don't look so good. I have also got the switches for the four-wheel drive, and I'll tell you one other thing that I did before I went to Scotland. I cut the tow bar off. You can see there. There's no tow bar. I cut the tow bar off, so the tow bar was basically a ground anchor. So I cut that off. So what I'm going to do is I've bought a receiver hitch. Now in the UK, they're not really people. I don't know why they're looked down on so much, but I think they're overly legal in the UK. But I've bought a receiver hitch, and I'm going to weld it into that box. And I've got a receiver pin. I don't know what you would call it. A receiver with like a shackle on it as like a towing eye for the back, and then I've also bought one with like a tow ball on. So you could use it for towing. It definitely wants some sway bars and other bits on it if you're going to use it for towing. So yeah, that's a little bit of an update on the Trooper. I know it's not the longest video on earth, but that's what we've got just at the minute. We're going to Scotland, everything. We've sort of not run out of time, but we haven't filmed, and we should have filmed when we were doing it, but we didn't. So I just thought I'd do a quick walk around and an update as to where we're up to with it. Obviously we've done quite a lot. I never showed you what we busted. So front drive shafts. So I put new shafts in it, and this one has left the chap big style. You can see we're missing a lump of the inner shaft there. So I ordered these shafts off online. So on a Trooper, without taking diff out, you can't change the inner part of the shaft. If I go over here, this part here, so that's the inner. That's what your shaft goes into, like that. So that stays in the diff unless you drop the diff, and we're running out of time, so I never dropped the diff. I just pulled the shaft out, put the new shaft in, the old cup. So I went to Scotland, had a rate day, sent it a bit too hard and broke a shaft, and I was like, that shouldn't be doing that, shouldn't break a shaft because the new shafts. Anyway, turns out when I measured it up, this end is exactly the same. I've no idea whether that will fit in the diff or not, but that is smaller. The balls in the bearing are smaller, and this cup here is a different size. So I don't know whether anybody's ever come across this before. So this is a Mark II, I think it's a Mark III, or a Mark II facelift or something, Trooper. So this is a big issue now because it's bust that shaft. It's not knackered the cups that are on it, so and to be honest, I changed the shafts because the outer one was knackered, not the inner one. So I'm going to see if I can pull these shafts in bits, the new ones and the old ones, and make one set of shafts that are some use out of two sets of shafts that aren't. Short of that, I've ordered new balls for the old shafts, so I'll rebuild the old shafts. I will show doing that because not everybody will like it, but that's what's going to happen. I haven't really got a lot of option with that because these shafts were custom order. Well, say custom order, they're 4 weeks before you can get a new shaft. So no good at all to me that. I want to go out with it in probably not this weekend, maybe weekend after. We can go to a different off-road centre type spot. So yeah, other than that, I think we did all right. The aftermath of drumclog was just the shaft. Rest of it survived. As for everybody else that went with us, it didn't survive the whole time, but most of it did. So yeah, onwards and upwards. We'll make it more reliable, and hopefully I'm going to make it a little bit more streetable than it is. Obviously, this is virtually how I bought it, bar the bumper and a couple of other bits. So I've done all the steering to make it a bit more streetable. So what I'm going to aim to do before the end of this year is shocks, see if that sorts the front, because it like nods. So I'm going to do shocks, see if that sorts the front, and if that doesn't, then I'm going to get some. You can buy upgraded torsion bars, which are just a thicker torsion bar. So we'll go for thicker torsion bars and hope that that sorts out the nodding effect. I don't think there's anything wrong with back because it doesn't nod backwards. It just sort of nods forwards. So I think it might be shocks, but we'll try shocks because they're probably the cheapest, and then we'll go for torsion bars after that. Right, that's the end of this video. I will insert a picture of me at drumclog. I never took any videos because obviously I was having such a good time. Never videoed any of it, standard. But if there's any videos, I will put them in. Right. I'll see you on the next one.